2A through 2E. Shannon, and that just refers to Shannon, Ireland, which they'll be going off the coast of Ireland at the later stages of the second stage if they have to abort. So just prepping you now for some of those calls. You're hopefully going to hear that word nominal a whole lot on the way uphill. 10.5 minutes. Things are pretty quiet. As John I said, it'll pick up right at about 10 minutes. We'll wait for the crew just to confirm that their displays are.
Hello, everyone.
The crew is already strapped in and reported that they are go for launch, and we'll continue to watch the fuel gauges tick up on the Falcon 9 vehicle until fueling cuts off at just about 2 minutes prior.
Doing some live
launch.
coverage of
Dragon,
the
SpaceX,
launch today.
Displays are configured for launch.
SpaceX Dragon displays are configured for launch.
Copy. Bob, Doug, on behalf of the entire SpaceX team, it's been a huge honor to help you get ready for today's historic mission. Know that we're with you, have an amazing flight, and enjoy those views of our beautiful planet.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, this is
absolutely our honor
looking
to be
forward to
part of
this. I've been sitting here watching for pretty much all morning.
To get the United States back in the launch.
So
business.
sit here and talk about whatever we can talk about,
We'll talk to you
some of
from
these
Washington.
items,
Thank you.
and just give you
Copy
any
all. Thanks for those words.
insight that I think would help.
The SpaceX core, so again, that voice that's going to be talking to Bob and Doug throughout their mission.
Can
Right
you
now,
all hear
Bob,
me
we're
out
just
there?
Offering a few quick words. The crew did confirm their crew displays are configured for launch. We are coming up on 9 minutes and counting.
We've gotten through T-minus 10 minute with the crew discussions. Activity is now going to
Yeah,
switch
yeah.
over to Falcon 9. Our next major event comes at T-minus 7 minutes. We begin what we call engine chill. Pre-valves will open. Those currently separate propellants.
So there's
On the first
massive
stage
coverage
from
of this
getting down
launch
to the
event
Merlin
today.
engines.
We
We'll
have
open the pre-valves,
SpaceX
allow
covering it,
fuel liquid
NASA. I
oxygen
saw a
to flow
couple
to the top of the pumps.
cable
But
channels
more
covering it, so
importantly,
everyone
when we open,
across the
the
board
valves,
is
that'll
covering
allow
this
us to
event.
begin chilling the
9 minutes,
Merlin
T-minus
IV
9
turbo
minutes
pumps
until
on the
launch
first
today.
stage engine. It'll take a few minutes to get them cold enough to where they would then be ready to pass the large amounts of liquid oxygen through the pumps and into the main thrust chambers when we get to engine ignition at T-minus 2 seconds. We don't want to try to run highly chilled liquid oxygen.
Want to welcome everyone who's joining me in Facebook and Twitch and YouTube. Thank you all. I'm streaming across all my platforms.
So right now, we are waiting for T-minus 7 minutes.
If you got any questions, feel free to jot them down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to let my inner nerd come out.
Listening to the SpaceX launch director in the background there. As I mentioned, at T-minus 7 minutes, as we start to chill, we will.
Of course, I
also
have
get into the,
my son
final
and one of his good
topping off
friends
of
here,
stage
so
one
you'll hear
fuel,
all sorts of
and then the
toys,
fuel load will
maybe even a drum set going in the background. So there's a lot of action happening in this house. Go show Miss Kristen. Okay, so what we have here today is a SpaceX design capsule on a SpaceX design rocket, and I think the capsule is a Boeing capsule,
Stage 1 engine chill
which
has
is the
started.
Dragon
It's gone up
crew.
to the crew so that they've
And
got
no, it's a
situational
SpaceX
awareness.
capsule as well.
I
As I look at
mentioned
the
the pre-valves
insignia
are
inside
open.
the capsule, it's
And now
really
we're
slick.
topping
It's really
off
modern
First
inside,
stage fuel,
and it
getting
looks
ready to
really
finish
really
the fuel
amazing.
load. Liquid oxygen load on first and second stage will continue until the last 3 to 2 minutes of the countdown.
So it's been a long time since
Should hear that call out.
astronauts have
Load
launched
complete coming
from
up in
the
about
U.S.
6 minutes again
They've
on
been
the
piggybacking
one
on a
is just that
Soyuz
densified kerosene or that
Soyuz
rocket
capsule
fuel
that is
that
launched out of
Falcon
Russia.
9
So this is
used
why
to
this
power
is such a
Bob
historic
Doug to
event.
orbit today.
The last launch from the United States to take astronauts up to the space station occurred back in 2011. So it's been a really, really long time,
Stage 1,
and long time coming for this. So that's why a lot of people are excited to see this. And that spaceship just looks amazing. Look how slick. It looks like we're
Right
living
on
in the
time.
future. We are in the
That
future.
call-out indicates that the fuel loading on the first stage is complete. Draining back the lines now, so first stage and second stage fuel are complete. Liquid oxygen loading is continuing.
How's everyone out there doing on Facebook?
You can see
Thank you
on
for joining
the
me.
on the left side of the
If you
monitor,
have any questions,
the
just shoot them on over.
the cold gas wrapped around the stages as the tank skins are chilled by the densified liquid oxygen, picking up the humidity
Falcon
from
9
the
is
Florida
up
air.
line.
We're coming up on T
So
minus
at this
6
moment, we're a
minutes
little more than 90%
until
full
launch.
on the
So if you see the
oxidizer
little
on first
picture on the
stage, picking
side,
up
you see
towards
the
that 80% mark
the
on
rocket
the
ship is
second
venting
stage. Counting
venting
down all the way to about
gases
2
that
or
are
3
built up
minutes, as John
internally
just
because
said,
the
until
gases
everything is
are
loaded.
super,
Falcon 9
super,
heater
super,
goes out.
super cold. And when they go into the rocket, they start to expand. So you have to vent those gases or it would explode while
has
those
transitioned to computer
while the
terminal count.
liquids inside the rocket are extremely
Vehicle
cold.
tanks pressing for strong back retract.
So it looks perfectly normal. The venting is normal.
We're pressurizing the Falcon 9 tanks. We're going to open the clamp arm around the second stage and begin to retract the strong back. We'll move back about 2 degrees. That'll get us to the liftoff position. At liftoff, the strong back will then recline about
Strong
45
back
degrees
retract has
away.
started.
Are there any space nerds out there with me? I mean, hey, give me a shout out at the bottom. Say pound NASA if you're a
Strong back
space nerd.
retract has started. On the left, you'll see it go back just a couple of degrees.
Stage 1, RPM lead.
Thank you for those thumbs up. Appreciate it. All right, we are under 5 minutes to see this rocket launch. Are y'all excited?
We are just 4 minutes away from liftoff. Again, at this moment, Bob and Doug are really just laser focused on those displays. They have insight directly into Dragon and the Falcon 9. They're able to see where their fuel loading is at, how everything's progressing down with the count.
AFTS final setup started.
All right, you see the astronauts on the right side of the craft, and it looks really slick and modern inside. And you see on the left side, you see the
And the strong back
a
is
close
now
up of the
reclining away
capsule.
from the Falcon 9.
The gantry looks like it's connected to it, but it swung back earlier at like T minus 40 or 45 minutes. So it is not connected to the rocket. Only thing holding the rocket down are some clamps, which will disengage once the rockets are at full power. That's right, Space Camp. I remember that movie. Do you remember the robot name that was in Space Camp? I can't remember. Max's friend, something like
Dragon
that.
has transitioned to terminal count and is on internal power.
That was a great movie.
Stage 1, locks load, close out.
Okay, we're at T minus 2 minutes, 42 seconds. Stage 1 LOX load is
Yeah, there we
closed
go.
out. Stage 2 will continue to load for about another half a minute or so. Once we get the completion of stage 2 LOX loading, we have to vent down the line, so you'll see another large white cloud coming off of the strongback. That'll be normal. That'll happen
Vehicle
around
is transitioning to
T
internal
minus
power.
1 minute and 40 seconds. We're
All
going
right.
on internal power now.
They're going to be switching over.
Just a few seconds away from the stage 2 LOX load being complete.
Hey, that's right,
Almost 9
Catherine.
years since we've been in this position.
We about to go flying.
A
Rocket
lot of
ships, you
work
know what I'm
done
saying?
by thousands of people.
Spaceships for everybody.
All our eyes focused on 2 now.
Stage 2, lock load is closed out. Propellant fills are complete. Dragon is in auto idle.
Stage 2 LOX load complete. All fuel, all oxidizer on Falcon 9. 1 minute
All right.
34 seconds to go till launch.
We are right around the corner from this launch.
Ground gas closeouts is starting.
Another significant milestone this is all ran by a private company, SpaceX. So NASA, watched over the construction and the design, and they had to meet all sorts of criteria. SpaceX had to meet all sorts of criteria to do this, such as safety and reuse. One of the features of this new space rocket is a escape system where the pilots inside the capsule can eject the entire top capsule away any point of the launch. So this is a really, really amazing ship. It's highly efficient. And, you know, SpaceX was awarded a contract at $3.1 billion to do this. So they really did this at a really good price, or a good budget. To pull off the amazing feats of engineering, science, and technology.
T-minus 30 seconds.
All right, countdown. You may hear some cheering going on in this house just because I'm about 40 seconds ahead of y'all.
Stage 1 tanks pressing for flight.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA. Go SpaceX.
There you go.
Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
America has launched. And so rises a new era of American spaceflight. And with it, the end of
This is about to be awesome. Get ready to watch this. This is dope. I'm watching it.
seconds into flight, stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
That thing looks slick. Ready? Come on. Give me that countdown.
Flying crew on board.
Where y'all at? Give me that countdown. Here we go. Ready? Fire it up.
M1D throttle down.
We're throttling down to get ready for the period of maximum dynamic pressure.
Look at that thing.
Reports say all systems are go.
So it's going to take about 9 minutes for the astronauts to get into orbit. And then after that, it's a 19-hour ride from ground to the space station. So they're going to have a long day before they get to the space station. But it'll only take them like less than 10 minutes to get into orbit.
We're throttling back up to full power as we're through max Q.
Copy 1 Bravo.
And we heard that 1 Bravo call out. That's just the second abort zone that they're in. They'll continue to be on this until the first stage has done its job and they switch over to the second. At this point, Bob and Doug pulling about 2.3 Gs, 2.3 times the Earth's gravity, already moving at over 15.
So if you look at the bottom left, you'll see some telemetry. What's going on, altitude and speed.
Ready to light. That'll come at about 2:44 into flight. Right now,
We're 1 minute into launch. Just a little over 1 minute into launch.
Major event coming up is going to be the triple. We'll have main engine cutoff of the 9 first stage engines, stage separation, and then ignition of the second stage engine to continue to carry astronauts into orbit.
Yeah, I love these views. They got cameras all over this rocket, and we should be able to see the separation of the main engine. Hopefully they do an outside view of it as it separates. And what happens with the Falcon 9, this is a SpaceX designed rocket. These main engines land, so we'll probably get to watch it land on the ground or on a barge. It's really amazing sight to watch these things come back to ground and land themselves. Amazing.
Eco.
2 Alpha.
Falcon stage separation confirmed.
Copy 2 Alpha.
MVAC ignition.
All right, we
Man, they
have
are
stage
chilling.
Separation confirmed. The first stage beginning its flight back. The second stage being powered by that single Merlin 1D vacuum engine has ignited and is now
Acquisition of signal
carrying
loss.
Bob and Doug into orbit. So they're going to continue under the power of this second
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
which will cut off at SECO, or second engine cut off at about 8 minutes and 44 seconds into today's flight. So a little over 5 minutes to go still on this second stage. You heard the call out to Alpha, so they're now in the longest abort zone that carries them all the way from about North Carolina up the eastern seaboard almost to Canada. Things looking good, though, getting good call-outs.
What's amazing
nominal
about the capsule is how
propulsion
they've
on that
placed
second stage.
a lot of the controls,
They'll continue
replaced
to
a
make their
lot
way
of
to
controls
orbit.
with touchscreens. It's really awesome. Touchscreens everywhere. And a lot of the ship's functions has become automated just because computers can do it faster and more reliable than humans nowadays. Only the redundant and backup systems have manual controls. But for the most part, the astronauts just sit in there and just ride.
All right, here in nominal trajectories, the Dragon pointed in the right direction, continuing to make their flight uphill. Heard acquisition of signal Bermuda. That's one of the other ground stations that they're using to get telemetry and data back from this spacecraft.
Stage 2 propulsion is still nominal.
Yes, yes, yes. How's everyone doing today? Hey, if y'all in Florida, well, here in Georgia, I know we had a beautiful day. Florida is pretty much beautiful days every day, except between 2 and 4 when it rains consistently.
A little over 4 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight.
So you see the astronauts, how it's just such a easy, such a, I won't say relaxing, but it's really not a lot to do when it comes to getting into orbit. It is, as far as the occupants inside the module, it's not a lot. It's all automated these days. It's so amazing that we can have pretty much rocket ships and airplanes that can fly themselves, but you know we can't get our cars to do it yet, or we're just figuring it out, I should say.
And while they continue up,
You see that speed? You see how fast they're going?
Yep, on your right screen, you can see that first stage with the grid fins deployed. It's making its way back to attempt
All right.
to land on
So
our
here's a
launch.
view of the
course, I
main
still love you today.
engine where it's
Just
deployed
about
as stabilization
a minute,
fins,
a couple
and
minutes
it is
away
going to
from
guide
the
itself back to its
entry burn.
landing
That's where 3
location.
of
I'm not
the
sure if it's a
9
barge or
Hurley
back at the
engines
launch pad
do
that it took off from.
ignite to help slow the
But you'll see those
vehicle down
stabilizer
as it re-enters
fins
back into the
rotate
Earth's
along its
atmosphere.
main axis,
And
and
then
pretty much
after
it's just
the
used
entry burn
as
will be the
a
landing burn, which is
control
just a
surfaces for the
single
main engine.
engine burn.
SpaceX nominal trajectory.
So it has its engine pointed back down to the ground.
And you heard
Nominal
Starting
trajectory.
chill for entry burn.
there's that call out. They are still on a nominal trajectory.
And it is on its way down.
Dragon.
The main engine is on its way down to
Still
land.
on second stage, and that's that MVAC engine on second stage. On
Yeah,
your left
Catherine, it's
screen.
going really fast. That's probably Mach 15 or so. I don't have a calculator in front of me.
Again, on your right screen is that first stage booster coming back towards our drone ship. Of course, I still love you. We're about
Just to give you how
minute away from entry burn.
a reference on how fast they're going, the SR-72
Wow,
Blackbird,
that's
which is one of the
continuing
fastest
to
aircraft
devour Dragon
in the
into
world,
orbit.
can go
And if you're keeping an eye
top
on that
speed
timer,
Mach
that's gonna
3-ish,
continue
right?
to burn until 8
They're
minutes
going to
and
hit
44
Mach
seconds
maybe
into flight.
20
So a
by
little
the time
over
it's
2
done.
minutes from now, we'll hear the call out SECO. It'll then be a little
Stage 2
under, or a
propulsion
little
is still
over,
good.
a little over 3 minutes until Dragon physically separates from the second stage of the Falcon 9 after the upper
Dragon
stage gets a
SpaceX
chance.
nominal trajectory.
Dragon copies, nominal trajectory.
Continuing to check in with Bob and Doug as they are on a nominal trajectory. Just about 10 seconds away from that first stage, starting that entry burn on your right screen. We should be able to see that view live.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There it is.
There is that entry burn, which
The main
is-
engine is firing up its rockets,
This burn lasts
and
about
as
36
it's
seconds
going to
long.
slow itself down a
Stage 2
bit
FTS is
to get
set.
ready to land. It's so fascinating how fast that thing goes up and comes back down. It's really over in just a matter of minutes.
Well, that entry burn continues. We're just about a minute away from SECO. We'll have a number of events all happen.
Catherine, they can feel the
Rapid
acceleration.
succession.
So they're reading out acceleration. They hit anywhere between 2 and 4
Looking for that, stage one
G's,
landing burn
which is
shortly
2 or
after.
3 or 4 times the notion of gravity.
Actually, just
Basically,
within
think
a few
about
seconds
it
of each
being like going down a hill really
Such a
fast,
cool
or
view on your left
I don't want to compare it to a
screen,
roller coaster
seeing
because that's
Bob
some
and
fast
Doug on
acceleration. But
Dragon.
you know, somewhere along of like,
Now you can see
you know,
the
you
displays
you
that they are
you accelerate
seeing
really
right now
fast in your
themselves.
car. That's kind of what it feels like.
MVAC throttle step.
So the answer is yes. You can feel. We as humans can
We are
feel
coming up
acceleration.
25 seconds or so away from SECO.
But once you once you have a constant velocity, zero acceleration, that's when we as humans don't feel anything. We're on Earth every day, and we feel a constant notion of acceleration, which is downward at 1g, which is 9.81 meters per second squared, 32 feet per second squared.
To abort at this point would either be an abort to orbit or to land off the coast of Ireland. Standing by for second
Stage 1 landing
cutoff
startup.
confirmation.
And back throttle step.
So thank you all for joining me on Facebook. Thank you all for joining me on Twitch. And I am streaming on YouTube as well. I'm streaming across all my platforms. Thank you for joining me. And it looks like the main stage is going to be landing on a barge in the middle, in the ocean. So we got a camera view of it. And we're going to watch this thing land. It's going to be amazing.
Dragon copy. Nominal orbital insertion.
What you're seeing on your screen is a live view of our drone ship, where our first stage will be coming down. Looks like we lost that live view, but we'll wait for confirmation of that landing shortly here.
Right, so you can see, we get a view inside the cockpit of the capsule, and it's a bunch of telemetry and a bunch of data, a bunch of information. And basically pilots, astronauts are not necessarily flying the aircraft, but they're more so managing a system and making sure everything is operating in parameters. Did y'all see that land? Y'all see how amazing that is? This is it's so amazing to see. Hey, we send these rockets up, they come back, we land them, and we reuse them. Such an amazing feat of engineering and all sorts of things. I can't even think of the right words right now.
Orbital insertion, so that means Falcon 9 and Dragon right now exactly where they're supposed to be.
And we'll need a FRC on Recovery 1.
And it's right at about 12 minutes when Dragon will separate. Looks like we saw a 0G indicator floating around there. I know Bob and Doug owe us a little bit about what exactly that is that they brought up with them.
And before separation, before Dragon initiates separation from the second stage, they do make sure to they do ensure that the vehicle is not spinning and it is in good condition before we separate.
That's right, the upper stage does small attitude maneuver.
Yep, so they should be pretty close to their orbit. The speed is not changing. I'm looking at the speed down there.
Exactly.
And their altitude is steady, and it looks like they're in orbit. I see stuff floating around.
They do wait until they have full confirmation that it is ready to.
And this is where our orbital mechanics starts to kick in, and orbital mechanics is really, really strange. It's really amazing to think about weightlessness and the lack of gravity. You know, an orbit is just an infinite fall. It's really amazing to think about these things in different abstract, but they're falling on an infinite path.
200 kilometers over planet Earth.
Yeah, Tunde, the reusable stage 1 is amazing. That thing comes back, lands on the launch pad. What's crazy about it is they're landing this thing on a barge in the ocean with waves, right? That's really cool.
Again, we're just standing by. That separation event should be coming up shortly. Then they'll begin a series of checks on the Draco thrusters that are going to be used to maneuver and then power Dragon on its flight to the International Space Station. Standing by for separation.
All right.
Expected loss of signal, wallows.
Here comes the second separation.
Sounds like we had an expected LOS loss of signal with one of the ground stations. Waiting for confirmation.
And it is separating.
Separation confirmed.
Dragon separation confirmed.
There is a great view right in front of you of Dragon separating. And there's that call out. Dragon is now officially making its way to the International Space Station.
Yes, yes. They successfully launched and entered orbit.
We have a few words for you from our Falcon 19.
This crew of 2, they are on the way to the ISS. And
Dragon, Chief Engineer on Dragon.
It has been almost 10 years since Americans have launched from the U.S.
Today. We hope you enjoyed the ride and wish you a great mission.
Thanks, Bala. Congratulations to you and the F9 team for the first human ride for Falcon 9. And it was incredible. Appreciate all the hard work, and thanks for the great ride to space.
Copy all.
I'd like to be proud of you guys and the rest of the team. Thank you so much for what you've done.
Just listen to
for
some
us
of these
today,
accolades.
putting America back into low Earth orbit from the Florida coast.
Copy out. Good luck. Godspeed.
So these gentlemen will have about another 19 hours until they get to the space station.
Equals activation and service section Draco checkouts. Nose cone deploys in progress.
Copy all. We're monitoring.
So, you know, these magnificent feats of engineering and great pieces of machinery are why I enjoy being an engineer. This is so cool to have. You know, I didn't work on any of this, but you know, they have seen stuff and worked on things similar like this in the past, and it's really, really fun to see. An amazing feeling to see these things, you know, massive systems complete whatever objectives they have. I see a whole bunch of you have joined me who have shared, you know, this passion of creating and innovating and inventing new things. So it's just so cool to see this. So again, before I sign off, I want to thank you all for joining me on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. I'm streaming randomly here and there about various things. Please follow me, subscribe, drop a like, hit me with some comments, give me a thumb, give me a heart if you enjoyed this. And I hope to speak and talk with all of y'all very soon. Stay safe, everyone. We still are not out of this pandemic time, so be safe, be smart, and I will catch you all later, okay? Love you all. Bye.
19-hour trip to the International Space Station before they dock tomorrow morning.